compromised for a jury to deliberate for 6.5 hours over a case for which a family has waited for justice for 19 months is a travesty of justice itself. In January of last year, we stood in the community and read these words from the Bible. Behold, the Lord's hand is not shortened, that it cannot save, neither his ear heavy, that it cannot hear. Later, God says, none calleth for justice, nor any pleadeth for truth. They trust in vanity, and they speak lies. They conceive mischief, and they bring forth iniquity. And judgment is turned away backwards, and justice stands afar off, for truth has fallen in the street. The duty of this jury was to deliberate over the facts of this case, lift up truth, and deliver justice for the people of the state of California and for a mother that have lost her son. Be crystal clear. We are not satisfied. Be crystal clear. God is not satisfied. It is written in the Bible that God declares that he hears the moaning and the groaning of a people that have endured this kind of suffering for 400 years. And that when God hears that kind of suffering, know for a surety that if the system of justice will not do justice while it is in the hands of the system of justice to do, that God himself will relieve the suffering of a mother and of a people that have attempted to see that this system would work. Sisters and brothers, we've waited a long time, and to expect that those that have never rendered justice yet would begin today might mean that we expect too much. And so, as we are confronted with this opportunity to find that justice should be served, the only recourse that is left in this system is that the federal government, if in fact we have a place here, look at how justice has been compromised. No time in U.S. history has this nation ever compromised or fought for the true rights of an oppressed people. Every compromise that was made in forming the U.S. Constitution was made to appease those, not that have suffered, but those that have been in power. The declaration that we are 3/5 of a human being wasn't to treat us as 3/5. It was to secure for themselves continued power over those whose humanity was not respected. What is the value of a black man's life in America? If Oscar Grant were a white male murdered on video, would others have been satisfied to watch in a county whose minority population is Caucasian, but the jury population is majority Caucasian? What is the value of the life of a black man in America? That a system that says it's designed to protect the weak and the poor seemingly never protects the life of the poor black man in America. Oscar Grant, we declared that we are all Oscar Grant, because this is not a problem that's new in the community. He's the 7th man killed by a cop who claimed that he reached for his taser on an accident. In every other instance, the officer went to the family and offered condolences, went to the family and apologized, and went to the victim and sought to offer first aid. Johannes Mesley did not offer first aid to Oscar Grant. He put his knee in his back and he handcuffed him with a bullet going through his body. This is not justice. We are certainly clear that Oscar Grant was murdered. We're asking, and we have heard from Mayor Ron Dellums, that he will assist us in calling in the federal authorities to ensure that if justice can be done in this system, that we will exercise every power that the system has at its disposal. But let's be crystal clear. It has never sought to bring justice in the murder of a black man at the hands of law enforcement. 400 times a year, people are killed by law enforcement, and that murder is called justifiable homicide. 400 times a year. After the murder of innocent human beings, nearly 50% of those murdered by law enforcement are black. 400 times a year. We're confronted with the challenge that our people have been murdered, but not one time in the history of the country has a law enforcement officer been bound over and convicted for guilt in a murder of an innocent American. We are here to declare truth with power. We are here to declare truth to power. We are very clear that the power you need not worry about is the power of my hand or the power of the hands of people that are in the city of Oakland angry tonight.
All right, you've been listening to the Reverend Keith Mohammed from the Nation of Islam. He's been talking about this is a much bigger issue, he's saying, than Oscar Grant and Johannes Mesley. It's like a referendum on the relations between police and African Americans.
He's also mentioned getting the federal government involved on this. We want to bring Dean Johnson in on this point. Is that something that could theoretically happen here?
You know, it's always a possibility. Oftentimes after the initial state criminal prosecution, we'll see either a federal civil